Hello.
In this video I will explain to you how to install the system for automatic opening and closing of the greenhouse.
Depending on your order, what you receive will differ. The GHA1 model controls window opening based on temperature. The GHA2 adds a wind sensor, and the GHA3 also includes a rain sensor for full protection.
You will receive two motors, a coupling for the motor, and a wind sensor with a connector. At this point, you can connect the sensor to the connector. You will also receive a rain sensor already mounted. Plug the cable into the electric socket and turn on the system. The system will power up in manual mode. If the system doesn't turn on, please rotate the emergency button to release it. You can press the up or down button to move the motors. The display will start showing animations with moving stripes up or down, which translates into opening or closing the greenhouse. The animation goes down for closing and up for opening. To test the wind and rain sensors, we must first calibrate the system. We calibrate it by holding both buttons, releasing the up button, and then holding the up button again. Then release both buttons and you will enter calibration mode. Hold the up button to start the automated calibration process. First, the motors will roll to the close position and then they will open and close. The system will remember how much time it needs to fully open and fully close. The calibration process also measures current. In case anything gets stuck in the sides of the greenhouse, the system will automatically detect that the motor needs more power than usual and will stop rotating. Now that calibration is ended, hold both buttons again to enter automatic mode. When you see the desired temperature and the measured temperature on your display, you'll know you're in automatic mode.
You can set the desired temperature with the up or down button. If you set the system to 20 degrees Celsius, it will start opening at 21 degrees Celsius and will only begin closing when the temperature drops below 19 degrees Celsius.
We can now test the rain sensor. You can use your finger, no water needed. If the display starts showing ran, then the sensor works correctly. When we release the finger or it stops raining, the system will return to automatic mode. We can also test the wind sensor by spinning it hard. If the system enters wind protection mode and the display starts showing real-time wind speed in meters per second, then the wind sensor is working properly and we are in wind protection mode. A timer of 10 minutes will start, and after that the system will return to automatic mode. If we spin the wind sensor again, the 10-minute timer will restart and we will stay in wind protection mode. So when it's windy or raining, the system activates protection modes to keep the greenhouse safe. If the temperature inside rises above 35 degrees Celsius while the system is in one of these two modes, the too hot function takes over. The greenhouse will fully open, even during wind or rain protection, to prevent the plants from overheating. After the greenhouse cools down, it will return to automatic mode. Sensors are turned off in manual mode. The display will still show real-time temperature, but the motors will stay where you set them manually with the up or down buttons. To start the installation on the greenhouse, we must delete the calibration. Now, let's re-enter calibration mode. Hold both buttons, release the up button, then press and hold the up button again. Release both buttons, and then hold the down button. When the screen says OFF, the calibration is turned off. Exit calibration mode, and let's install it on the greenhouse. Install the aluminum rod in the position where you want your electro box to be. Fasten the screws behind the box. There needs to be at least 5 centimeters of space on the greenhouse foil rod to attach the coupling for the motor. Through the coupling, we drill the holes into the greenhouse tubing. Then push the screws through the holes and fasten them with a nut. The next step is to attach the motors to the telescopic tubing. There's a hole for the screw where the motor is attached. Fasten the screw with a nut. Place the telescopic tubing in the position where it will be hammered into the ground. Hammer it into the ground as demonstrated in the video. We connect the box to the power supply and turn it on. The motors won't be properly aligned to screw them into the motor coupling. Press the up or down button to properly align the motors with the coupling. When they are aligned, we fasten them with a screw. Important: before aligning the second motor, we need to remove the handle on the side where we already attached the first motor. Failure to do so may damage the greenhouse. We repeat the process on the other side for the second motor. Put the wind sensor together with the rain sensor on the mount. Use self-drilling screws to attach the mount at the top of the greenhouse arc. Connect the wind sensor with the connector.
At this moment, we set the motor limit switches. Motor limit switches are mechanical parts that recognize limit positions. In our case, these are the lowest and highest position of the greenhouse curtain tubing. First, we set the lowest limit switch. Hold the down button on the box for 1 second to turn on the engine light. The color of the light tells us which of the 2 limit switches we are setting. In this case, it is red. Set the arrow on the red switch as close as possible to the limit switch contact. We do the same on the other side. Then, using the lowering button on the box, lower the motors to the final lower position and check that the switches are working. If the button to lower the motors no longer works, we know the switches are working properly. Next, we set the upper limit switches of the motors. For this, we need to raise the curtains of the greenhouse about 25 centimeters to the uppermost barrier. Same as before, hold the up button for 1 second to see the color of the end switch to be set. In this case, it is red. Set the arrow as close as possible to the limit switch contact. We do the same on the other side. To check that the limit switches are set correctly, hold the lift button. If the switches are set correctly, the motors will move up a bit and stop quickly. If the switches are not set correctly and you raise the sides for too long, you can damage the greenhouse. Once you have the motor limit switches set, remember to close the limit switch covers. Calibration is probably the easiest part of the whole assembly. To get to the calibration mode on the box, we must first switch to the manual mode. Then hold both buttons until 6 lines appear on the screen. Let's just release the top button. Zeros will start to appear on the screen. When 3 8s appear, press the top button back. 3 additional 8s will then appear. When 6 8s are lit on the screen, we can release both buttons. If CAL is displayed in the upper line of the screen, we are in calibration mode. To start the calibration process, hold the button up until 3 lines appear in the bottom line. That's all you have to do. The greenhouse will then close and begin the calibration process, opening and closing once and recording current consumption and time. Calibration is crucial for sectional opening of the greenhouse and detection of obstacles that may jam into the sides of the greenhouse. To calibrate the temperature, you need a reference thermometer. Place it together with the sensor from the box and leave them for a few minutes to adjust to the same temperature. Then set the box to automatic mode. Repeat the same key combination you used for the torque and time calibration mode. Hold both buttons until 6 lines appear on the screen. Then release only the top button. When the 3 8s appear, press the top button back. 3 additional 8s will then appear. When 6 8s are lit on the screen, you can release both buttons. If the inscription SEN appears on the upper part of the screen, we are in the calibration mode of the thermometer. Set the same temperature on the box as you read from the reference sensor using the up and down buttons. To save the setting, simply exit this mode by pressing both buttons. The system is fully assembled and set up for automatic use. All you have to do is set the desired temperature in the greenhouse. A beautiful day.